Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the minds of almost 50,000 software developers from all over the world, all thanks to the 2025 Stack Overflow Developer Survey. And what they're saying, well, it reveals this really fascinating and honestly contradictory story about where tech is right now.
So what is this global community of builders and creators really thinking? What are they excited about? What's frustrating them? And which tools are they actually using day to day? As you're about to see, the answers point to this huge disconnect between the tech they're being told to use and the tech they actually trust.
You know, when you boil all this data down, one massive theme just jumps out: a deep, fundamental contradiction. It's this paradox that's sitting right at the core of how we build software today, and it's shaping pretty much every decision developers make.
Okay, so the first half of this paradox, it's an absolute gold rush. I mean, there's just no other way to put it. Developers are flocking to artificial intelligence at an incredible speed, and the numbers, they're just staggering.
84%. Let that sink in for a second. That's the percentage of developers who are either already using AI tools or are planning to, like right now. And that is a huge jump from last year. This isn't some niche trend anymore. This is a full-blown seismic shift.
And we're not just talking about people dabbling here and there. For nearly half of all developers, and that number climbs even higher for professionals, using AI tools has become a daily thing. It's as normal to their workflow as that first cup of coffee.
And this commitment, it goes even deeper. Developers are actively spending their own time learning AI. Whether it's to get a leg up in their career or just because they're curious, the message is loud and clear. They feel like mastering AI is something they just have to do. But here's where the story takes a sharp turn. Because behind that shiny, impressive surface of adoption, there's this growing crisis of confidence. The very same people who are rushing to use these tools are also, well, deeply skeptical of them.
Get this, 46% of developers actively distrust the accuracy of the AI tools they're using. So remember that 84% adoption rate we just talked about? This means that almost half the people joining the AI gold rush don't actually trust the gold they're digging up.
This chart really lays it all out. You've got way more developers in the distrust camp than in the trust camp. And if you dig a little deeper, the number of developers who say they highly trust the output, it's a tiny 3%. That's a whole lot of caution, and it tells you that human oversight is still absolutely critical.
So what's driving all this distrust? This quote basically says it all. The number one frustration for 2/3 of developers is getting these AI solutions that are almost right, but just not quite. It's like a spell checker that confidently suggests the wrong word, forcing you to spend even more time fixing the thing that was supposed to help you.
And this isn't just a fleeting annoyance. It's a real, measurable trend. As developers are spending more and more of their time fixing those almost right answers, the overall positive feeling about these tools has dropped, from over 70% last year down to just 60% today. You could say the honeymoon phase is officially ended.
So how does all this tension actually play out in the real world? This whole push and pull thing isn't just a feeling. It's directly impacting the tools that developers choose to use. And maybe even more importantly, the tools they choose to admire.
Okay, this slide right here, this captures the entire paradox perfectly. On one hand, Python adoption is just exploding. It's up 7 percentage points. Why? Because it's the language of AI. But then, on the other hand, you ask what new technology developers admire the most? It's UV, a Python tool that gets praised specifically because it's built in Rust for incredible speed and reliability. So they're using one thing, but they're admiring something else for the complete opposite reason.
And this internal conflict, it's not just staying inside the code editor. It's spilling over into the workplace, and it's starting to affect everything from how well teams work together to how people feel about their jobs.
So let's talk about AI agents. You've probably heard all the hype, but the reality is they are nowhere near mainstream yet. And while some folks say they help with their own personal productivity, they get their absolute lowest scores on improving team collaboration. They're seen as a solo tool, not a team player.
So what actually makes a developer give up on a piece of technology? The survey makes it super clear, and the reasons are pretty fundamental.
Topping the list are things like security and privacy issues, pricing that's just too high, and, well, the fact that there are just better, more reliable options out there. It all comes back to trust and quality.
And that brings us to the real punchline of this whole thing. After listing all those deal breakers, the survey asked about the least important reasons for ditching a tool. And way down at the bottom of the list at number 9, a lack of AI. Yep, with all the industry pressure and all the hype, its absence is one of the last things developers actually care about when deciding to stick with a tool. So, after this wild ride through a gold rush and a crisis of confidence, what's next? Where does the entire developer community even go from here?
Well, it really seems to boil down to this. When the new automated tools don't quite cut it, when that AI-generated code is almost right but not quite, developers fall back on what they've always trusted. A big chunk of them, about 35%, go right back to human-powered platforms like Stack Overflow, looking for answers that have been checked and approved by their peers. And that leaves us with the big central question for the future. As we keep integrating AI deeper and deeper into our work, almost like it's another coworker on the team, who's ultimately on the hook when it's wrong? Who is accountable? Answering that question, that's the real challenge that will define the next chapter of building software.